Alright, welcome back to the DocOva channel. Today we're going to talk about application settings or application properties. So let's get going. One thing that you should do is go and check out the creating an application video if you haven't already. And just because when you create a video you get the properties box, so the initial fields that are on that are saved as settings for the application. And we're going to talk about a few other things you'll see in these settings that have to do with when you're creating an application. So it's just a good thing to go through. To start off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the Create an Application button again here, so you can see the Create a New Application dialog. And you'll see when you create a new app, there's title, description, pick a color, pick an icon. You'll see those in the settings when we go into there. If you go to an existing application and you click on the application menu and go to the bottom menu property here or menu item, it's properties. So if you click on that, you'll see it was when we created the app, you'll see that information that we use. So the title, description, the color, the icon, and also application type. So there's applications and there's libraries. That's for another video. And whether or not this is a template or not. So if you watch the create an application video, we created this demo application called Contacts Demo. And at the end of that video, we said that this application was a template, and we created another application from it. So that's why this one is template is set to yes. And also the application key. If you're a citizen developer and you're learning development and prototyping apps and stuff like that, you probably won't use the application key anytime. It's kind of something that a more advanced developer would use as they're creating and using some of the code and functions and API and stuff like that. But it's just here and in the application settings or properties for ease of use or just ease of getting to it. Also, there's a report staging tab on the properties here. The report staging tab has nothing in it in this particular app, but that's for reporting purposes. So we have business analytics and charts and things like that that you can put into DocOva that are built in as design elements. But you can also use external reporting tools in order to report out of DocOva applications. And so this is where that tab would come into play. This is something that we'll do a subsequent video on as well, so we're not going to get into that right now. Just suffice to say that you can get to some of the application properties or settings through the application menu here in the workspace. And if you have access to do so, you can change the title, description, and color icon right here if you have access to do that. But now let's go into the app builder in this app. So I'm just going off the application menu again and opening up the application in App Builder. And so here we are. And you'll see that the first design element under every single application is the properties. And so here's the properties or application settings. So again, you'll see, so there's, let me just say 4 sections here. So there's the general settings, the security settings, deployment, migrations. So if we go into the general settings first, again, you'll see title, description, icon. So those things came over from when you created the app in the dialog I just showed you. Is it a template, yes or no? You can set that here. Inherits design from. So here you can pick an application that this application inherits its design from. That's kind of related to the is template. So you can have an application that's a template and then create a whole bunch of applications off that template. And you can say in each of those applications, hey, that's my design template. So that when a developer, citizen, or other makes a modification to that design of that template, that design change is pushed to all the other applications, and this is where you make that relationship right here. And that just allows you to say, you know, if you had 5 applications based on one design, that you make the change in the design in one place, and it updates the design of those 5 applications. Now, that said, let me just sort of segue for a second. If you've done that, you can go into each of your applications that are based on this one template and you can go into all the design, so the layouts of page or forms or views or whatever, and you can say prohibit design replace, so that if you do make this connection and say inherit the design from that application, in this particular application you can protect things from being updated automatically. It's kind of a DevOps sort of thing, but it allows you to sort of protect your design element if you want it to be almost 99% the same or 90% the same, except for these other tweaks that you've made, and you can protect those in those apps. Sorry, oh, 1 second. I'm getting a phone call from my daughter, so maybe we'll cut out this part of the video, or maybe we'll leave it in. All right, so on with the video here. Launching application layout. Okay, manually pick. Again, if we talk about the create application video, and you go watch that, you'll see that the first thing we did was we created a layout for the application. And in that layout, we launch, open that layout. But here, when you create that layout and you say that's the default layout for the application, it's set here too. So you can come in here and see that the main layout was set as the default layout to open when you open up the application. You can change that here and pick a different layout. There's also a formula capability, so that you can, say if somebody is, from a certain group, to open up this layout, otherwise open up this layout, right? So that formula gives you the ability to open up the application in different ways for different groups of people with different roles or what have you. If today's Tuesday, open it up this way, whatever you want to do. The mobile launch settings is similar in that this is where you choose how the mobile version of this application opens. The HTTP host name is the host that this is sitting on, and the application key, just like you saw in the properties dialog, is just a convenient place to come and get the application key. And that is just a unique identifier for the application, typically used in sort of API programming instances. So let's move on to security settings. So if we open up the security settings here, so DocOva, you can define groups, you can define roles in applications. Here, when you add somebody, you click on the add button and you can go ahead and pick from your address book or from your directory of people a group or a person to add as access, to give them access to this application. Now, the security and access control is a bigger subject, so we'll go over that in another video. Just suffice it to say that you can add people and groups to an application and then give them certain types of access. So you see here the user type when you add. So if you click on me, John Ryan, you can see I'm a person and I'm a manager. You can also define designers. Those are people who can change the design of an application. The editors can change any of the content of an application, but not the design or not the access control. Only managers can change the design and the access control and any of the content. So editors can change any content. Authors can change only their content. So authors are allowed to create content in an application and edit just their content. Then there's readers, and readers are allowed to just read content, and then no access prevents a group or a role or a person from being able to get into the application. So that's it in a nutshell in terms of the access control of an application. Again, we'll do a subsequent video on security because it's much more involved in terms of locking down portions of forms and stuff like that. Okay, deployment. Okay, this is kind of a DevOps component to the application settings. And it's really meant to allow you to deploy an application. So some companies will have DocOva as their environment, and they develop and work in production on that one platform, in that one environment, on that one server or in our cloud instance. However, you might also have a testing environment and production environment, or just a development environment and a production environment. And so what this allows you to do is it allows you to develop on the development instance of DocOva and then push the application to user acceptance testing, and then push it from there once the testing is completed and everything looks okay. You can push the application to the production environment. So this makes it really easy to do. You can see here we have two instances, the demo.docova.com. In my particular case, this other one is our Azure instance. And I can create an application on my dev instance here and push it to those two if I want to. You'll see that there's a deploy button on the right-hand side. And so if the application exists in the other platform, then the design will be updated. If the application doesn't exist in the other platform that you're pushing to, so you're in development, you're going to push it to user acceptance testing, and it doesn't exist there yet, then Docova is smart enough to know that it doesn't exist and will create it over there. And so that's just a nice and easy way for you to deploy your applications to different environments, and sort of the DevOps capability of pushing it from environment to environment, which in fact might be server to server. Okay, and then finally the migration section of the app settings. This section is for importing Notes applications. If you haven't already, go and watch the video on importing a Notes application, Lotus Notes application. I think it's called HCL Notes now. But that allows you, this is just a button. If you click on import an application, you just put in the path to the application. There's more about that in the video where you can learn. And then it brings all the design elements and converts them, converts all of the design elements like forms and views and things like that. But also converts some of the code, so the Lotus script and the Lotus Notes formula language into JavaScript and our JavaScript-based formula language as well. All that comes over. Plus, you can import the application data and just modernize your application. So it's typically if you're importing Notes applications, you've gone through and triaged which applications you're keeping, which ones you're archiving. And, when you bring them over to Docova, you can bring them over in read mode, which is like an archive, or you can re-engineer them in Docova, which is very fast, or you can import them right into Docova, in which case we convert all those things and modernize them that way. So it's just a really quick way to get your Notes environment over to Docova. And if you have your migrated / re-engineered / archived applications all on the Docova platform, we have federated searching capabilities and stuff like that. So everything is still under the same umbrella, still able to be searched and leveraged together. And so it's a really neat option for migrating off of Notes and Domino environment. Anyways, that's it for now for the application settings or the application properties. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Consider subscribing and also hitting that notifications bell so that you know when we post another video. So that's it for now. See you next time.